So I have to talk about a little bit. I have to talk about a little bit about the removal of well-fixed cups. Usually, to remove cups is not our biggest issue during a revision, and especially if the cup is completely loose, then sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get it out of the pelvis. But usually, if a cup is loose, it is easy to remove. Our goals, if you want to remove a cup, is to access all parts of the acetabulum. And that's very important regarding your approach. Yesterday we talked about approaches in the primaries. For me, it's really a completely useless discussion if anybody wants to use an anterior, lateral or posterior approach. For me, it's only important if he is used to doing it quite frequently and he knows what he's doing and he has a good technique. So then he can use every approach that he wants. But in revisions, in my opinion at least, there's a completely different story. I recommend strongly, we do about 1,000, more than 1,000 revisions a year, 1,500 hip revisions. We use always a posterior approach. And for me, the posterior approach is by far the best revision approach. Of course, you can do some kind of revisions via lateral approach or anterior approach, but you're always limited, especially limited in the overview about the acetabulum. Next point is, of course, preserve as much bone as possible and remove, if it is possible, all parts of bone cement. So to remove the cup is only usually easy. In many cases, we have situations where the cup is well fixed. For example, these cases, metal bearing with metal wear and some kind of alveolar reaction, you have to remove the cup, and sometimes it's not very easy. Malpositioning of cups and PE, the cup is quite well fixed, but you have to remove it in these situations. And last but not least, of course, if you have periprosthetic joint infection, it has nothing to do with septic loosening, because there is nothing loose. Usually our implants are well fixed in case of periprosthetic joint infection. And sometimes it's not so easy. Let me tell you how I remove a well-fixed cemented cup. Well, to remove a well-fixed cemented cup is really not an issue at all. So you need not so much implants. I'd like to show you my tricks, what I'm doing usually. I drill a hole in the cup and then I use these kind of cement restrictors to get the cup out. And that works in more than 90% without any problems. If you have some difficulties, you can use this kind of chisel technique. Push the chisel into the cup and level the cup out. But this technique, I do not like so much because you destroy sometimes the bone. To remove a well-fixed uncemented cup is usually more difficult. So, because the cup is well ingrown, the bony ingrowth is very well, and so you need some tricks, and you need also here a standardized procedure. And the most important part, if you are doing any kind of revision, you must have a wide range or variation of chisels and extraction tools. I know in many countries in this part of the world this is an issue. You have chisels, you have different chisels, but the chisels have to be sharp. And whenever I'm operating here, I'm confronted with stubborn chisels, unfortunately. So I show you, when I remove a well-fixed cemented cup, I use only two kinds of instruments. This chisel there and one retrograde curettage instrument. I show it to you. So removal of a well-fixed cemented cup is sometimes, as I mentioned it, not so easy. You have to do it in a very standardized procedure. And if you are lucky and the cup is not so well fixed, you can just, after you remove all the osteophytes from the edge of the cup, you can push it out. My secret tip is, and this works really in almost all cases, even if the cup is really well fixed, remove the osteophytes, chisel a little bit around, and then use this retrograde curative instrument. And then you only 2-3 pushes and the cup is coming out, even if it is well fixed. Why? Because every cup is designed to resist pressure. No cup is designed to resist tension. So this is a trick that works very, very well. Of course, we have the always cited commercial solution, the explant system. The explant system, of course, is helpful, but it's quite expensive. The blade should be used only once, and then you should throw it away. And very important is that you first hit the blades into the bone, and then you can turn it. But this is, at the end, basically, it's nothing else than I do with my chisel when I chisel around the cup. But the inlet, and the next problem is you have to keep the inlet. Sometimes you forget it, and the scalp nurse is throwing it away, and then you cannot use the explant system anymore. Little video about it, how we do it, or how I do it with the explant system. This is a threaded cup, as you can see here. But first of all, before you start, please remove really all osteophytes, and then you can, and I chisel a little bit into the bone to get an entrance for my explant system. Then you, after defining the size, then you chisel more than turning or cutting out the cup. And after you have chiseled around, then you can turn it, and then you get out the cup quite well. So this is not really the most challenging and demanding thing to remove the cup, even if it is well fixed and also integrated. So my take-home message is the number of revisions, of course, drastically increased, even especially if in the cups when we have some kind of PGI or metallosis or alpha reaction where we have to remove a metal-metal combination. Plan your revision, of course, thoroughly. Use the right tools, and again, if you do a revision and you do not have, or if you plan a revision and you do not have the right tools on your table, forget it. Then you can't do this really properly. Preserve as much bone as possible, and then revision is not difficult. Thank you so much.